Little Alake is frolicking in the clearing with his father, looking at the birthmarks on his and his father's palms. From the thicket, Makunga watches, dreaming of getting rid of the heir to Zuba. Makunga challenges his rival to a mock battle, and Zuba does not notice how Alake, playing with the rope, walks away to the border of the reserve. The lion only comes to his senses when he hears the sound of a marauder truck pulling away. Zuba fails to catch up with the truck, but the poachers do not take the lion cub with them. The box flies into the river, which carries him first into the ocean and then to the shores of New York. That's how Alake became the famous Alex, star of the zoo and best friend of the funny trio. His trademark dance becomes a favorite among the inhabitants of the metropolis, and the lion has absolutely no memory of his life in the wild. One day, the friends are fed up with the sedentary life, and all the news reports say that the four have escaped from the zoo and descended into the city subway. The animal rights activists take advantage of this to get them shipped to Africa, but the ship disappears from radar, and the company's whereabouts are unknown. Had the crying people known that the four friends are spending time in Madagascar, in the company of King Julian, Morris, Mort, and the penguins, the latter incidentally promised to take Alex and his friends back to New York after their vacation. The homemade plane is getting ready to launch, and no one is frightened that it looks like a tin can. Surprisingly, the plane even manages to take off. The friends discuss their return to the warm feeder and their holiday experiences. Gloria is about to enroll in a breeding program altogether, having decided that her clock has run up to that point. This news frightens Melman, but he hops off and goes off in search of drinks at King Julian's first class. The penguins admire the light bulb announcing the problem. When the engines stop, the guys prepare for an emergency landing. Panicking, the friends say important things to each other, saying goodbye to life, but the penguins level out the situation as best they can. The airliner, or what is left of it, lands gently. Gloria doesn't even realize that anything has happened. The penguins think everything is perfect, and only 2 missing passengers are an excellent result. Alex realizes that they're not in New York, but he has no choice. He has to plan for survival somewhere in the middle of Africa. Suddenly, a jeep appears with American tourists, and the lion hopes that they will be recognized and the torment will end. But on board turns out to be an old woman who has shattered all the friends' dreams with her fighting skills. Alex intercepts his cell phone, which he immediately forgets about. In front of the friends opens the African steppe, on which the whole herds of animals are walking. Thousands of zebras, giraffes, and hippos. The sight is thrilling for the company, and Alex feels eerily familiar. The natives gather with interest watching Alex's strange dance. Zuba and his wife emerge from the crowd and decide to find out why the people are piled together. As the ringleader explains to the strangers that they'd better leave, Flory notices a birthmark on the boy's palm. Zuba shows Alex his palm, and the lion realizes that these are his parents. Fun reigns in the clearing. The happy family has found their lost son, also in the company of friends, but Makunga prepares a new plan to use Alake and take the throne at last. Marty joins the striped herd. Melman meets the giraffes who tell him about the dying pit and offer to become a doctor. And Gloria finds new friends with whom they discuss guys lounging in a mud bath. Alex spends all the time with the parents, and upon learning that his son is the king of New York, Zuba informs the gathering. Gloria even gets an admirer, the giant Moto Moto, a lover of lush figures. The idol is spoiled by Makunga. He reminds Zuba that according to the rules of the pride, he must banish his son because anyone must undergo a rite of initiation. Deciding that this is something akin to a talent show, Alex happily agrees to prove himself. Sitting at the watering hole in the evening and admiring the sunset, the company realizes that they have found their place. The penguins, on the other hand, prepare a plan to return home. They create a diversion and steal a car, leaving the tourists along with the angry old woman on an empty road. His parents show Alex the nursery he grew up in. From his father, the lion learns the story of his disappearance and promises that by winning the tournament, he will never leave again. The old woman leads the whole group, and they meet more lost people. Crowded together, the hikers sit around a campfire, listening to the war grandmother's tales. After collecting parts from the stolen jeeps, the penguins repair the plane. According to their calculations, this will take some 6 to 9 years. To make the process go faster, several hundred monkeys come to the aid of the feathered penguins. On the step, they prepare for lion's performance. Gathering a support group, Alex supplies makeup and rehearses the dance. Makunga sniffs out information, and upon learning that the lion is gonna dance, he advises him to choose Tsitsi. Zuba announces the beginning, expecting his son to win. As Makunga advised, Alex chooses Tsitsi, surprising everyone with his courage. Lion begins a performance he's rehearsed 1,000 times, but with one punch, the giant explains to the kid that this isn't dancing. In the ring, he has to fight. Realizing that they screwed up, Zuba feels sorry for his son, but he has to follow the rules. Weighing all the pros and cons, the leader throws the scepter, giving up the throne for Alakay, which is what Makunga had been waiting for. Having claimed the throne, he immediately banishes Alex and puts a shameful cap on his head. The parents go after the banished man, but there is a quarrel between father and son, and Alex thinks he was wrong about his place. Melman works hard as a healer, but learns from his kinsman that he has a shamanistic affliction. All is not well with Marty either. The zebra rehearses a new number with the striped man and realizes that he's the same as everyone else, without any uniqueness. At the repair shop, the airplane is being assembled at full speed, and the plane is even ready to fly. True, not the one that is needed, but so far, just a paper plane. The team gathers there to discuss plans. Alex thinks about how to win back his father's trust, and Melman thinks about how to tell his friends about his illness. One Gloria is still soaring in the clouds, running around on dates with Moto Moto. The girl is even a little hurt that her friends don't share her joy, but Marty gets even more hurt when he sees that none of the company realized that he wasn't the one chatting with them. Alex admits that he really didn't notice the switch, which causes him to quarrel with a friend as well. King Julian looks for a place for a new palace and finds a dying pit with Melman. Looking at the suffering head, the lemur advises him not to despair and confess his feelings to his beloved before he dies, and then helps Melman to rise. But his beloved, meanwhile, is happy with someone else. Moto Moto arranges a posh date for Gloria and praises her form. Melman bursts in on the couple, but gives his speech not to his girlfriend but to her beau, advising him to appreciate the best girl he could meet. Listening to this, Gloria finally realizes that all along happiness has been there for her. Alex rehearses his fight with Makunga on the nest, for which he's badly beaten by the birds. Running away from the raiders, the lion hears a cry from the watering place. On approaching the crowd, he discovers that the spring has dried up, and the new king is not gonna solve the problem. The lion challenges himself to find the spring and save the inhabitants, but first he wants to say goodbye to his friends. He starts with Marty, and this time Alex recognizes his friend from 1,000 zebras. The friend refuses to stay and goes on the search with Alex. Moto also tries to find water but finds only gold and diamonds, and then Julian offers to make a sacrifice to the volcano so that the gods will take pity on the inhabitants. Melman, who has nothing to lose, volunteered to go to the volcano. All the more so because in this way, he can be a hero to Gloria. The girl tries to dissuade her friend, but to no avail. Makunga tells Zuba that Alakay has left the reserve to find water. Realizing that he risks losing his son again, the lion runs to his aid. The friends find the clog that caused the water to disappear. It turns out that this is all the work of an evil old woman who has set up camp and created a pool in it with a dam. The couple don't manage to stay unnoticed, and running away, Alex gets into a trap. At the top of the volcano, the ritual begins. Standing on the edge, Melman prepares to step into the lava, not yet knowing that no one dies from the shamanistic sickness. Gloria rushes over to save the boy and almost makes things worse, but at the last moment she manages to grab the giraffe and confess her feelings to him. Marty shows up and tells Alex about Alex's troubles, and the friends rush to save the lion, bargaining with the penguins for the plane. The old lady is just about to cook the lion at this time, but Zuba unties the guy in time and offers to fight. All Alex can do is dance. But that's just what it takes. The New Yorkers recognize him. Infected with energy, King picks up the rhythm, and the two lions cause the crowd to cheer. The old lady does not share the joy, but a rescue plane shows up in time to carry the performers away. at the same time knocking down a dam that prevents the water from flowing with the grandmother. Mort finally finds his friends and brings the shark with him, and accidentally sends him into the mouth of the volcano. In the same second, water appears in the shroud, and Julian is sure that it's all thanks to his plan. Zuba and Alike are greeted as heroes, but Makunga does not recognize the winners. Unwilling to compete with the traitor any longer, Alex introduces him to an old woman who seriously educates the bad cat by sticking her finger in Makunga's ear. Zuba appoints Alex as the second king and marries Skipper to his doll, after which the feathered ones fly off on a honeymoon to Monte Carlo. The famous foursome, on the other hand, remains in Africa, and Alex happily teaches his father his city tricks.